Hi, I think this is probably the second video I'm uploading to do with little mods to this Losi Mini 8. No new territory really. I think it's a very well known vehicle, and the sort of mods people are doing to it is sort of well established. But I thought, what the hell, I'll post up what I'm doing anyhow and just sort of see if anyone's interested, if there's any comments. So last time I did the T-bone bumpers, front and back, and the shock covers. This time the next obvious thing to do to this car is to do something with the battery tray. It's designed to run on nickel metal hydride, which is great, actually. Sort of gets a fairly decent life on the car because it's nicely made and the diffs are sort of nice and open, but really it's begging for LiPos. And well, let me show you. Whilst they do fit, they don't fit well, and the obvious thing to do is to adjust the battery tray. So just taking the top off here, you open this up, take out the battery cover. You'll see that the nickel metal hydride sits in there very nicely within the spaces there, but when you look to the slightly larger, slightly wider, slightly taller LiPo, you can push it in, but it won't go in properly, so it's standing proud of those. The cover won't go on, but you'd think if you really jammed it in, everything would be fine, but one bump, one tumble, it's sort of popping the body shell off, your balancing leads trailing out, and it's just not on. It's no good at all. So what people typically do is to get a pair of pliers and simply snap these bits off here and here, and some people then take these two screws out and take that flat. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cut these off here, but I don't really want to just snap them. I want to see if I can do it a bit nicer than that. So I'm going to take them out, give them a snip, then finish them off on a bit of sandpaper just to make it look a bit nicer. So let's see how that goes. So the first thing to do is to get your little Allen key from the kit and undo it. As I put these back in, I'll use a trusty old Loctite, as I've used before, which is pretty good at keeping things where they should be. That's turning. Okay, so the screws are out. And then we've got the mount, which sits like that. So it's this end that we're going to take off. And actually you can see why it does snap off so readily, because it's actually weakened on that corner. Maybe they knew you were going to do this. But nonetheless, I'm going to give it a snip with the pliers here. Cutters. Like that. Let's come off. And then we're going to give it a quick rub on the old sandpaper just to make it look nice. Shake the camera up. Right, so I'll do the other one, I'll get them back in, and we'll see how that LiPo fits. Okay, so just to show you, the second one's out here, and also it's got this little cut in as well, so not as profound as the first one, but it does seem a little bit like they're expecting you to cut these, which is great. So as I say, I will, and then I'll get them back in. Okay, so the moment of truth. These are the two bits which have been snipped off, so they're ready for the bin. Little bit of sanding on these, little bit of Loctite on the way in, which seems to work nicely, so that's a low grip thread lock. So now really just see how the LiPo will sit in there. Again, slightly wide, but they will pinch down, I think. Let's see if we can get this brace across the top. So that's one side in. And then with a push, can we get the other side in? I should have done it both ends at the same time. Right, looks like it's going to do it. Right, bear with me, it's just a bit fiddly doing it around the camera. Right, let me just pause it. Okay, so we've got that pinned down, and by no means is that an easy fit. It does take a lot of pushing. I have seen others who've actually just used this brace with a bit of Velcro, so it's not reliant on these pins, but it does just give it a little bit of sort of lateral stability by hooking over the top. But with a push, get in there. It would definitely be better with these guys removed and finished off. So maybe we'll do that another day. So you basically take these two screws out and just sand these pegs flat. Okay, well, I think the next little tweak I'll do on this is basically doing something to raise up the battery shell, because it's quite a squeeze to get everything under there, even with the properly positioned LiPo. I was talking to a chap on the internet, and he was saying he wasn't reliant on these pegs anymore. He was just putting a bit of Velcro along the side and on the inside of the shell. But I think what I'd like to do is try taking these up a bit. So I think these screw on and screw off, raising them up, and seeing if that works. Okay, well, let's see how all that goes, and I'll be back soon. Okay, cheers. Okay, so I've just quickly taken these two screws out here, and actually it doesn't have a huge effect on the stability of this on the side. Yeah, it's lost a little bit of its strength, but I'm going to see if I can basically Dremel off these two lugs here, and if I can possibly do it whilst keeping a bit of the screw engaged, that'll probably be a good happy medium. So I'll take this all off and I'll get it Dremeled, and I'll give you a look at it. Okay, so I've very coarsely, it's not the most pretty job, but what I did is I put the screws back in, and then I've Dremeled the top off with a little grinding wheel, and basically put them off flush, not perfectly flush, but I want to have some thread in there to hold the heads in there. So I think that probably is the best of both worlds. If you are going to do it this way, don't forget these will get very hot. You can see that their paint has sort of come off. I've probably got the shape of one of them in the end of my finger as well there when I picked it up. So it does get hot, but very easy to do. Let's see how that mounts up. Okay, so that's all mounted up. A little bit of Loctite as ever. The screws seem to have a decent fit in there. So really it's the best of both worlds, all things being equal. So we pop the LiPo in. Should sit a little bit flusher. Still snug, but I think, moment of truth, this will be slightly improved. So let's see. I think, where are the pins? Just take it off camera for a second. Right, so that's the first one in. It's always a bit fiddly working around a camera. I'm sure some people can do it, but I'm struggling. There's the second pin in. So now the LiPo fits pretty much perfectly, and then the big question is fitting all the cables in underneath the shell. That might come in later when I raise this up. So yeah, pretty happy with that very simple, cheap sort of 10-minute mod. Okay, thank you very much.